Mom, sir.
All right.
How you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing good. But I submission. Apologize, man. I didn't charge my phone yesterday, last night, and then I didn't realize it was going dead. Um, so apologies, brothers.
Yes,
Apologies.
sir.
It's all good, brother. We made it happen. We want to thank you, Brother Damon and I, on behalf of Real to Real. We want to thank you for accepting our invitation to join us and join the conversation, sir.
Oh man, praise be to Allah, man. No problem. Hey man, it's an honor.
Yes, sir.
And I think we need more of these type of things going on to counteract everything going on. That's counterproductive to our rise. So but Damon's my big brother, and always appreciate him for really getting me back on my square and getting out here and working and whatnot like we should. So
Yes,
so
sir.
yeah, man, it's about time, brother Damon got on some virtual tip. So y'all doing a good job.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very
You know
much.
what? I want to say it's funny because about a year ago, him and I was on the block together. And I said, we got too many talk shows, I ain't doing no talk show. And here we are a year later.
Hey, you gotta get in when you fit in. You can't beat them,
right.
join them.
Hey, this idea was Brother Foster's idea.
Brother, the way we started Real to Real, there was a post Brother Damon made a few months ago that sparked this idea in me, because I know that Brother Damon and I, look, we are striving to find and to become accountable as men, that so that our future relationships, we don't have the same issues that we faced in our previous marriages. And I know that in just the things that I do day to day, which is talking to young men and teaching others, there's just so many of us who have not had that opportunity to talk about these issues before we get in our relationships. And being in the Nation of Islam, that we push marriage, and a lot of the issues that we have in the nation, we're coming out of the world, so we have these issues too. And Brother Damon recommends you highly, because when you're married, you are a stand-up brother. And he also let me know that you have a blended family and that you have history in raising or teaching the junior FOI.
Yes, sir.
So your viewpoint on these topics is very valuable. As brothers who listen on to this in the future, will probably have something that they can listen to, and examples that they can find in those that we have on our show.
Right.
Well, brother, first question that we have for you is, how long have you been married, and what were some of the things you saw in your wife that made you say, this is a good choice for me?
That's a good question. Praise be to Allah. Going on 8 years in November, and it's funny. That's a very good question, because the way I even met my wife, it was weird, because it was a profile picture of her that popped up on Facebook, and it was her and another sister together, posing with their faces touching each other, and they were all in their white. And at that time, the way I looked at a lot of pictures that I've seen, profiles I've seen with both brothers and sisters, and from my vantage point was that they weren't representing it, or they might have had pictures of their profiles and their whites, maybe some pictures somewhere in the photos, but that was her profile picture. And in the midst of all the photos I see, it was like they were really representing. It was, it was like a perfect Muslim MGT picture of them smiling, showing sisterhood and love. And I asked a brother, I saw her profile said St. Louis, and I reached out to a brother, asked about her, and he checked me. He said, brother, if you're interested in her, you need to talk to the captain. And I said, yes, sir. So I put in courtship papers for her and whatnot. But another brother, we were standing next to each other at our mosque in Indianapolis, and he pointed to the restrictive law book.
Yeah.
And he said, this is what she represents. Basically, like, she lives by this restrictive law. And I said, wow, okay. Then, well, let me continue down this process to explore and get to know this sister, that I was eventually to court. And that's how we communicated, was through courtship, not before anything like that. So, but that brother making a point, who knew her from her city, and her mom said she strives to be a righteous Muslim, So that was one of the main, if really, thing that caught me, was because, we're taught that the restrictive laws are success.
That's right. That's right. But thank you very much, brother. We know that the courtship process is very sobering. It helps us to put our best foot forward, and also to put that right foot forward as well.
Right.
For you, how long into the courtship process did it become clear to you that this is my wife?
It was probably in the probably like the 4th month. Maybe like once because I was from a different city. I was in Indianapolis, Indiana. She was in St. Louis, so I had to travel, and then we had to, of course, main communication was on the phone. So it was a lot of long conversations about, getting to know one another on the phone, and got to St. Louis, got to meet her family, beautiful mother, beautiful father, and just beautiful believers, that spoke highly of her, and just a lot of compatibility, certain goals we were striving for, and we had some moments where it was like, I don't know about you, brother. There was moments, I don't know about you, sister, and so a brother said, student minister Willie in New Orleans said, if you have, he gives a certain percentage of, you have more things in common, like maybe, I don't know, I can't remember the number, but he said those other 2 or 3 things can be worked out, So I don't think some people may have all across the board, everything compatible, but that hasn't been my life. So finding the common things and the things that can be worked on, because some things that might have been a problem, may have been things that I just needed to grow up with, and mature with. It may have been a perception that it was a problem, but it was more so, she's got a point there, and vice versa with her.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And with his advice, we were just speaking about Brother Minister Willie, about the work that he does in the community. How valuable was, or how it seems like what he told you was very useful to you?
Yes, sir.
In terms of his advice, without necessarily telling us the advice, what did it do? What did his advice do for you in seeing things in a different way?
It was perception. We've talked with student minister Willie a few times, even since we've been married. That's one of my go-to brothers to counsel with. But one thing he said he basically referred us to the book, The 5 Love Languages, and made me to realize, and make my wife to realize, we got different love languages. It's like, I might be something that drives me that she may not be used to, or has any way to deal with. Is something to learn, and vice versa. Like my wife is a very affectionate person. She likes flowers. So, and I got to be on post. I got to be on point every time. Like she likes flowers. So Friday come, I know I need to get some new flowers.
Yes,
every
sir.
time. Like it's gonna be a problem, or it's not gonna be a happy day, But now I'm understanding the value of it with flowers and what they represent, and the color and the life and everything. So it's just recognizing that the problems may have been just a perception, misperception, that perceiving that it is a problem when it's just a misunderstanding, or basically explaining it. Certain things, even now when me and my wife communicate, I'm learning how to explain to her things that about me, and how to understand where I'm coming from when it might be something that throws her off with something I say or do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's awesome, brother. Many of our brothers and sisters, we are, there's a lot of barriers that could get in the way. Some brothers may not necessarily have in mind, or they want to have children, or some sisters don't want to have children, or have a certain type of standard for you, blending or making what we call a blended family. Was that a difficulty factor as you got married?
Good question. No, not initially. Everything has a difficulty factor, especially things of value. But I actually grew up in a blended family. My mother got married to my stepfather, who they've been married. This is their 30th year, and he took on two responsibilities that were not his. So I kind of was almost trained for this, and built for this with that, because even to this day, I'm learning things that I didn't appreciate that he tried to do for me in terms of becoming a man. So I tell him things even to this day that I didn't appreciate him trying to enforce on me. The thing was, he got me at 13 years old, and I've even heard the minister say that can be a little challenging when you marry a woman who has a boy, especially that's 13, because he feels like he's a man. It feels like he don't need you to step in this late in the game. So I always had that element that as far as a blended family. I don't even call them my step brother and sister. We call each other sister and brother, and that's what we are. So when I met my wife, it wasn't a challenge, wasn't a challenge at all in terms of because I love children. I think one thing, you gotta just love children and see the value in having children, even if it came from your loins. The honorable minister is not the most humble Elijah Muhammad's physical loins, but he's a spiritual, and he's and look here we are,
Right.
So doing the same thing, replicating ourselves within the community and throughout the world as big brothers and father. Like I said, brother Damon is my big brother, so only challenges I honestly have at times is, I don't know, it don't be really challenges, it just be moments where, just honest, like, man, it's good things. Like, this is my daughter, and she calls me daddy.
Right.
And that's a great feeling, and I think I thought at times, how would my two sons receive her, and how would she receive her two brothers? But they're brothers and sisters, so that, it's not no real challenges. It's just I came at the time when she was 5 or 6, so I think at times a natural child has a natural need to know their mothers or their fathers if they're not in their life. I was like that with my stepfather. I still wanted to know my father. I still wanted to talk to him. So those can be challenges when you're a father, or stepfather, or a stepmother, or whatever. But if we all communicate and just treat if I treat her like she came straight for me, so that isn't a difficulty. It's just it is knowing that what comes out of us genetically, you will see those different traits. Like my sons, they are so much like me, so and they're a part of a blended family now as well, with their mother. So it's this is what's going on with us. We and my children's mother and my wife, they get along very well, very well. They communicate. If there's things going on with my son, she communicates with my wife, and vice versa.
That's awesome. Was it challenging for them to be on the same page? Were there some difficulties that you had to overcome for that to get there like that?
Not really, because they're MGT. They have a different mindset, and they understand the seriousness of family and responsibilities, and of course we're all natural human beings. So of course with those type of situations, there's we've all have feelings and things like that, and sometimes we're still maturing from difficult decisions that we've made, with especially having children with a sister or a brother, and moving on to, moving on to your next phase in life. So so with those so it's been difficulties because for one, I live a far distance, so that's challenging within itself. But my sons still look to me as their number one dad and the best dad in the world. And we always compliment the mother for the work she's doing and the good job she's doing. And even if she doesn't feel that way, parenting is hard. It's not easy. Especially in this day and time. So it's not it's sometimes what we consider difficulty when we look back on it, it's not that difficult. It's just a matter of communication and just having patience, and prayer. So my wife, she treats my sons and she loves her sister, regardless to how she feels or whatever, that's her sister. And so just having a good mature woman, I think it helps to ease that difficulty.
Yes, sir. With your history of working with the Junior FOI, I think as men, and this is something you and Damon share, and this is something I really admire about Brother Damon. Brother Damon, since I've known him, has been very interested in the lives of our young men. And for you to have two boys and then to have a blended family, were there things that you had to overcome dealing with the Junior FOI that you think prepared you for fatherhood or for the situation and the relationship and marriage that you're in now?
Yeah, the Junior FOI definitely prepared me because I took on trying to do some work with the Junior FOI in Indianapolis, mile 74. Shout out to all the believers there. Man, I had to have been like 23. It was like 2002. It was just, to me, it just made sense that I always knew that the term "it takes a village to raise a child," and I believe wholeheartedly in that. So, and when you have our community, a lot of these children are children with single, just one parent in the house. So, and I just see now maturing. I see that's how you invest in your own future, where you learn how to, patience and learning different things that work and how to communicate, with children and whatnot. So they definitely prepare just seeing what's going on out here in the landscape of the world and knowing what to do and what to prepare for and how to help prepare them. So the Junior FOI definitely, and even to see some of them to this day that I've known since they were, man, like 7, 8 years old, some doing some very productive things in their life, it's definitely helped me because I don't have conversations with children that I don't have with my own children, because, we have to see Black children and children in general like ours, like, just like when we grew up, them elders would check us, that around the corner. If they saw you cutting up and call your grandmother, your mother, by the time you got home, you was getting another beat. So those things help to prepare me to receive also guidance from other people, because I don't know it all, so I ask questions. I'm all about questions and answers, when it comes to life and self-improvement. So I'm trying to be the best father, the best husband, best Muslim. So I'm always asking questions and learning from mistakes.
Yes, sir. Brother, one issue that we struggle with, and I know men who have had children and had a relationship and that first one didn't work out, it's very difficult sometimes to move on. I personally have felt, sometimes I make myself feel guilty because I didn't make it work. And I struggled with, listen, I do deserve to have a successful love life, a successful marriage. Was it a struggle for you to move on? Did it take you time? And how did you get on that road to where you are now?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I have my moments, because you learn, because you'll do stuff in your current relationship like, God, like, man, I'm still doing this, or now I understand why I should, what I did in the past, so even with my children, so definitely a difficulty with that because who wants to start over? You know, nobody in their right mind should want to start over. I'm sorry. I'm just, you know, it's like our parents and our grandparents, you know, they didn't do stuff like that, you know. So like now we feel like that's okay to just be in and out, you know, start one thing, you know. And I get it though, you know, everybody to each his own, but um that definitely was a difficulty because any real man or woman loves their family, loves their children,
Right.
you know. So but I think it's just like anything with difficulty. If you don't learn from it, if you don't get over it, it's going to always be there. So
Mm.
I think just making a commitment to communicate, to be transparent as possible, and when there's mistakes made, just admit it. You know, like I've admitted to wrong that I've done with my past, my current and my past. You know, so I'm not too big to say, sister, I'm sorry, I didn't take wasn't mindful of this that I did 10 years ago, you know, or tell my wife, I'm learning from you, learn from my mistakes, what I'm seeing that I'm about to walk into now that I'm going to
Wow.
correct. So again, I see counsel, you know, I didn't do that prior to this, you know. So now when I see something coming and I don't know how to fix it, I'll go read something or find a lecture from the minister, or I'll call someone, you know, an elder, you know, our student minister here in Fort Worth, you know. So that's what I try to do now, you know, getting over things. And so that's pretty much
Sure.
like I said, I'm a human. I think I still have moments where it's just like, God, you know, I'm still working on that.
Yes,
And I don't
sir.
think that you just get over that. You know, I think